Okay, so to start this problem, you're going to combine the like terms. So you have -7 plus 5, which is going to give you a -2, and then rewrite it plus 2 sine x equals 0. Then you're going to want to move the 2 over to the right, the -2 over to the right side. And you're going to do that by adding 2 to both sides. So then you have 2 sine x equals +2. Then the next thing you're going to want to do is get sine x alone. So you're going to divide both sides by 2. And you're going to have sine x equals 1. And the 1 you can change to 1 over 1, which makes it easier because then you think sine is y over r. So the next thing you're going to want to do is find where y equals 1 and r equals 1. And that means that x is going to equal 0. So then your point right here is 0, 1. And that's where this is going to be. So then your answer would be pi over 2, because that is where the point ends up on the 90-degree line.
Okay, folks, we're going to be solving this equation here. What we want to do is get the sine x by itself. So first things first is we're going to add 1 to both sides. To both sides. Then we're going to have to divide by 2. Divide by 2 to get sine squared of x is equal to 1/2. Gonna square root both sides, and get sine of x is equal to square root of 1/2. Well, the square root of 1 is 1, and square root of 2 is going to stay like that. Sine of x, like that. Burn! Oh gosh, I forgot the plus minus. Whenever you take the square root of something, you have to put the plus minus to indicate that it could be positive or negative squared. So now all we're going to have to do is figure out where 1 over root 2 would be. So 1 is equal to y, root 2 is r. And just for kicks, we'll throw over the x over here is equal to 1 as well. This is considered a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So now the degrees for this is, we don't get an exact quadrant to put this in, so we're going to have to put them in all four here. So 45 is in quadrant 1, 135 is in quadrant 2, 225 in quadrant 3, and 315 in quadrant 4. We're going to convert this to radians. So 45 degrees is an over 4 pi. Pi over 4s. So 45 would be 1 pi over 4. 135 degrees is 3 pi over 4 because it's not exactly the pi yet, just a little bit short. 225 would be 5 pi over 4. Oops. And 315 would be 7 pi over 4. And there you have it, folks. Your four answers for 2 sine squared of x minus 1.
Alright guys, so I had number 5. So what you do here is you have to change cosecant to sine. So, so it'd be 3 sine 2x equals 4. You just have to cross multiply, right? So it would be 3 equals 4 sine 2x squared, divided by 4. And then it would be 3/4 equals sine squared x. Then you would have to just square root it. Square root 3/4 too. Square root of 3 is just square 3, or square root of 3. 4, it would be 2, right? And since you're trying to find sine, it would be y and r. And then you could just draw your triangle. All students take calculus. And first two quadrants, I forgot plus and minus, burn. That would be, just draw the triangles. It would be in all four quadrants, but it would be a 60 because it's directly across from root 3. 60 across from root 3. Then 31, -1, and 2, 2. You would do the same thing for the other two quadrants because it's the plus and minus, right? And then what you do is, since it's 60 degrees, it would be pi over 3. Second quadrant would be 2 pi over 3. Third would be 4 pi over 3. And the last one would be 5 pi over 3. And those are your answers. Yep.
Okay, so for this question, we're gonna start off with we're gonna rewrite. Oh, all right, we're gonna write 3 cosine x, and then we're gonna write this. Oh, whoa, whoa, plus 1. Oh my god, oh my god. This plus 1. Bring this over here, that side, and then you have that. And then to bring this side over, you're gonna subtract cosine x to here, and then that gives you 2 cosine x plus 1. Set that equal to 0. Subtract 1, and then divide by 2. So then you have cosine x equals -1 over 2. And then a -1 over 2 is x over r. You need to find y. So y equals root 3, because x is -1, so that means the reference angle is square root 3, which means it's a 60-degree triangle. So you need two fractions over 3, because for 60s, they're over 3. And then where is cosine negative? So cosine negative, this is where it's positive, positive. These two are negative. So you want the over 3 in quadrant 3 and the over 3 in quadrant 4. It's going to be 2 pi over 3 for quadrant 2. And then for quadrant 3, it's going to be 4 pi over 3. So these two are your answers, and that's it.
What's up there, fellas? John Passetti here. Some people know me as Chetty Wap. Gonna show you how to do this problem real quick. So we got 2 secant squared x plus tan x minus 3 equals 0. So it's already set to 0. So we gotta use a Pythagorean identity for secant squared, which is gonna be, oops, go 1 plus, sorry, actually tan squared x plus 1, and then plus the tan squared x minus 3 still equals 0. And then, okay, let's see here. And then you're going to want to distribute that. So you got 2 tan squared x plus 2, and then still plus tan squared x minus 3. And then you can combine like terms. So you got, let's see, 3 tan squared x minus 1. Bring that 1 over to the other side, so you have 3 tan squared x equals 1. And then you're going to divide by the 3, and it's going to be square root. So you have, but the square root really only applies to the 3, because square root of 1 is still 1. And then you're going to want to look at it on the graph. And 1 over root 3, it's also plus or minus, burn, 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 burn. Of course, standard. Um, and then that's going to be at, let's see, 1 over root 3 would be, let's see, the 30-degree angle here, 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 and here with 1, 1, 1, 1, and then root 3 in here. And then you can see, okay, we got root 6 right here. Or not root 6, sorry, pi over 6. And then this one is going to be, let's see, pi over 6, 5 pi over 6. This one is going to be 7 pi over 6. And then last one, 11 pi over 6. So those are going to be your 4 answers. I'll put them up here. Got pi over 6, comma 5 pi over 6, comma 7 pi over 6, and the last one, 11 pi over 6, if you can see that. There we go.
Did you stop the recording? I didn't. I don't know how. Oh my gosh, it's still going? Still going. So they have to hear me right now? Oh, these kids, they don't know anything these days, millennials.
Okay, class, welcome back. It is Benny Backwood, and we are doing the problem 2 cotangent to the 4th minus cotangent squared equals 15. Now to start, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to factor. So start by doing 2 cotangent squared plus 3 and then cotangent squared. Or actually, this is going to be plus 5, and this is going to be cotangent squared minus 3. If you want to check your work, you can FOIL that back and see that it comes out to the right answer. And then when you do that, you're going to want to take them both and make them both equal to 0. So 2 cotangent squared x plus 5 equals 0. Then cotangent squared minus 3 equals 0. So then when you do that, we'll start with this one first. We'll label this 1, we'll label this one 2. So when you do number 1, you gotta subtract 5 first, and then divide by 2. So it'll look like this. Cotangent squared x equals negative 5 over 2. That's because you subtract this 5, and then you divide this by 2. And then to get rid of the squared, you gotta square root both sides like this. And when you do that, you realize that you can't square root a negative. This becomes square root of 5i over root 2. So then that in turn we realize becomes no solution. So that's our answer for that side. Then we come to number 2, and you can subtract or add 3 to both sides, so you'd get cotangent squared x equals 3. And then you square root both sides, so cotangent squared or cotangent, oh, sorry about that. So then you'd get cotangent equals root 3. And then we know that to be a proper identity. So the root 3, that is an x value. and then the over 1 would equal a y value. So what angle equals cotangent of root 3 over 1? That would be 30 degrees, aka pi over 6. And since it's plus minus pi over 6 because of the root 3, so it would be pi 6 in all quadrants. So the final answer would be pi 6, 5 pi 6, 7 pi 6, and then 11 pi over 6. And that is your final answer. Alright guys, if you think I did a good job, please leave a like and subscribe to this video, and until next time, Benny Backwood is out.
Oh, these kids don't know how to stop anything. Millennials.